Hi, I'm John Sinclair, and you're watching Oakland County, Michigan Normal News.
I'm Mikey Evans, and this is the Oakland Normal News for May 19, 2007. On May 5th, we traveled to Detroit for the Detroit Liberation March, also known as the Global Marijuana March, which was held in over 230 cities over that weekend, May 4th, 5th, and 6th. Let's look at the video. This is Mikey Evans from Oakland Normal News. We're at the Global Marijuana March, also known as the Detroit Liberation March, here at the Grand Circus Park in downtown Detroit.
Get our pop pride going here. We know that there's a whole wealth of history and knowledge about cannabis, and that nothing bad was ever said about cannabis until the 30s in America, when that word marijuana came around. And I noticed that we've been using a little too much marijuana in this park, because I'm not into marijuana. So I'm telling you right now, if I hear you using marijuana, I'm losing my patience. And if the day's draining on, I haven't had some water, I might just punch you out. I'll smoke a joint, but I don't want to hear you use that word, marijuana.
Further ado, here's Matthew Abel.
Put that Westerner on.
Alrighty, thanks Susan. Hi, my name is Matt Abel, and I am a marijuana lawyer. I defend people charged with marijuana offenses. I do a few other things, but not much. Most of my practice is marijuana law. And if you've got my business card today, I hope you read the back of it, because there's some free advice there, and if more of my clients took it, I'd have less work. So let me just say, law enforcement can and will lie to you. Hell yeah! They will lie to you. So keep your mouth shut. I don't care what they tell you. If they ask you a question, you ask them a question back. Don't lie to them, but don't give them any information.
See all those people down in Katrina and all these other places suffering, and we take away the real medicine from the earth and shove pharmaceuticals in people's faces to make them dumb and numb and not caring what happens. Get in front of the TV, get your beer, take your job, and shove it up their asses.
Because it will be an event that can help the medical marijuana initiative schedule for our 2008 ballot. The petition coordinator here, Crystal, if you'll raise your hand, if you're interested in doing paid petition work, $1 a signature, please see Crystal. She's looking for people. She's the state organizer for the petition. So at some point, Crystal, you should get up here as well. And welcome to Michigan, Crystal. We appreciate you being here. Initiative, which is our way to kind of get our foot in the door, get people thinking about our issues in broader terms and more compassionate terms. So we're really talking about compassion here. That's what it does for me. Cannabis opens my heart, makes me calmer and kinder. The other night I watched some guy break my drum head at a drumming circle. But thanks to the sacred herb, I was able to get through that moment of pain when something you value is broken by somebody else. It's those kind of practical day-to-day things that come up in our lives when something goes wrong and we feel hurt or slighted or we have the blues for some reason. This is medicine for us. And a friend of mine in California who I worked with about a decade ago, Dennis Perrone, who initiated the medical marijuana initiative in California, Prop 215, he used the phrase, all use is medical use.
I started to be an activist. Let me tell you the story. How? My daughter was a student at U of M, Ann Arbor, right? There was a hash bash there. I had never been to a hash bash. In fact, I had sworn off weed entirely. You know, one of those, you get so high you don't want to smoke weed anymore. So I went to the hash bash with her, and she wasn't smoking either. And then we got there early, and then some guy came by, some really cool young guy, and he said, Molly, you want to smoke some weed? And she said, no, I'm not going to smoke today. And then he went away, and then I said, Molly, maybe this is not a good idea for us not to smoke weed today at hash bash days. She said, I knew you'd change your mind, Daddy. And she took out her hash pipe, and she's turned her daddy on. And that's when I became an activist at the Ann Arbor hash bash, hearing Jack Harrer speak. Oh, am I not being clear? And go away. And then they charged him with, they gave him 10 years in prison for that, for giving away those 2 joints. It was outrageous. And then John Lennon and many others created a benefit for John Sinclair to free John Sinclair. It was an Ann Arbor rally with, of course, John Lennon, Allen Ginsberg. And out of that, the same day as the concert was the day that the Michigan Supreme Court declared that law illegal, saying that this was cruel and unusual punishment for John to get 10 years for 2 joints. So for a while, marijuana was actually decriminalized here in Michigan, and then back about 1992, they recriminalized it. And that slipped by because we really have not had a very effective marijuana movement in Michigan. Until now, until today, where we have all across the state, we have activists who are willing to take on projects like getting marijuana legalized for medical purposes statewide. We've done it so far in the city of Detroit and in Ann Arbor, Ferndale, Traverse City, and recently Flint. So we've had 5 electoral victories, which means we're going to do something for medical marijuana this year with an initiative. We're going to need your help, your support.
Try to be as happy as I can in this world that doesn't give a damn too much.
Hi, I'm Marvin of the Party, and you're watching Oakland County Norml.
Hello, Mike Whitty. Hello, Renee. Hello.
Buzzkill. Parks Department shuts down Hemp Fest by Scott Moore and Matt Davis, Portland, Oregon. Organizers for this year's installment of the Hemp Stalk say they've got Tommy Chong and marijuana activist John Trudell lined up, plus a slew of musical acts to entertain the growing crowd. The one thing they don't have, a permit from the city. In mid-April, the city's Parks Department sent the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, THCF, a medical marijuana provider and Hempstalk's main organizer, a letter denying their request for a permit to hold the event at Delta Park September 8th and 9th for 2007. The problem, according to Park Security Manager Mark Warrington, is that last year's event, which brought an estimated 15,000 people to Waterfront Park, was the site of widespread smoking of marijuana and unlawful consumption of alcohol in violation of THCF's permit. Police say they arrested 3 people outside the event allegedly selling pot, and Park Security issued 20 exclusions for possession of marijuana and alcohol. THCF founder Paul Stanford denies the widespread use allegation. It's simply not true, he said. In fact, our attorney calculated that, based on other weekends, there were 40% fewer arrests at the park during our event than usual. Sergeant Chris Davis, who heads up the Police Bureau's Downtown Street Crimes Division, didn't immediately know how many pot arrests normally occurred in the area, though he did say it's not uncommon to find weed dealers in Waterfront Park. What isn't in dispute is that the Hempstalk 2006 featured a private tent for medical marijuana users to medicate. Warrington says that was in direct violation of the permit agreement, and that even if state law does allow for medical use in private, which it does, it isn't allowed at Waterfront Park. Plus, the permit required THCF to follow all federal, state, and municipal laws and regulations, and federal law doesn't make exemptions for medical users. Warrington said they specifically denied THCF permission to set up a medicinal tent. The first time, in 2005, they asked us if they could set up a medical marijuana tent, and we had our attorneys research the issue, and they came back and said no, it wasn't okay. But last year they went ahead and did the tent anyway. We've come to an agreement with people when we issue permits, and they did not live up to their part of the agreement last year, Warrington added. That's true, Stanford said. They told us we couldn't, and we did it anyway. We're a medical clinic, and all of our clients require medical marijuana. How could we not provide a place for them to medicate? We disagreed with Warrington's interpretation, knowing that if it became a problem, we could challenge it based on state law. Stanford also has a 2001 email that was sent by then-Mayor Vera Katz's office to Oregon National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, NORML, which he believes makes his case. At the time, NORML was asking for permission to have a private area at the Rose Festival for medical users. The response, sent by Katz staffer Elise Marshall, was that you do not need police endorsement, approval, or authorization for what is currently allowed under Oregon law, which deals with medical marijuana. As it currently stands, Hempstock 2007 is permitless, and no one from the Portland Parks and Recreation Department, the police, or Parks Commissioner Don Saltzman appears ready to budge. But Stanford and his fellow medical marijuana activists are taking their case to the rest of the city council, hoping for at least 3 friendly ears. They can either give us the permit, Stanford says, or we're going to sue the city. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Willie Nelson from NORML. For 30 years, NORML has provided a voice for the millions of Americans who smoke marijuana responsibly. In Canada, medicinal use of marijuana is already legal. Now the Canadian government has announced that they will soon stop arresting marijuana smokers altogether. We can learn much from our neighbors to the north. To learn how you can help, contact NORML at www.norml.org.
Welcome back. Cop who made pot brownies in Dearborn, Michigan. Story from the weird side. He says he may be dying. Dearborn, Michigan. A police officer will avoid criminal charges, admitting he took marijuana from criminal suspects and with his wife baked them into brownies. The police department's decision not to pursue a case against former officer Edward Sanchez left a bad taste in the mouth of at least one city official who vowed to investigate. If you're a cop and you're arresting people, and if you're confiscating the marijuana and keeping it for yourself, that's bad. That's real bad, said City Councilman Doug Thomas. Sanchez, who resigned last year from the department in this Detroit suburb, declined comment Wednesday to the Detroit Free Press. Police Commander Jeff Gessinger did not return calls seeking comment. The department's investigation began with a 911 call from Sanchez's home on April 21, 2006. On a 5-minute tape of the call, obtained from the Free Press, Sanchez told an emergency dispatcher he thought he and his wife were overdosing on marijuana. "I think we're dying," he said. "We made brownies and I think we're dead. I think really we're dying."
Okay, how much did you guys have?
I don't know. We made brownies, and I think we're dead. I really do. Time is going by really slow.
Was it a big batch, a little batch?
It was a quarter ounce.
Okay, but brownie-wise, how many pieces do you guys think you guys had?
I don't know. I probably had like a small chunk. Please come.
Do you guys do this on a regular basis?
No, this is the first time we've ever done it. What's the score in the Red Wings game?
What?
What's the score in the Red Wings game?
I've got no clue. I don't watch the Red Wings.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure this isn't some type of hallucination that I'm having.
Sanchez later told police investigators that his wife took the marijuana out of his police vehicle while he was sleeping. In a subsequent interview, he admitted he got the marijuana out of the car himself and put it in the brownie mix, police said. His wife also was not charged. This is just more evidence that prohibition causes more problems than solutions. Corruption, theft, and misuse of evidence. Go cops, go.
Hi, this is Willie Nelson from NORML. For 30 years, NORML has provided a voice for the millions of Americans who smoke marijuana responsibly. Thousands of sick and dying patients find marijuana effective as a medicine, including cancer, MS, and AIDS patients. 9 states have legalized its use. To learn how you can help, contact NORML at www.norml.org or call toll-free at 888-67-NORML.
Welcome back. Cannabis cash funds Islamic terrorism. This is a story out of the UK. Alex Duval Smith, The Observer. Cannabis smokers are unwittingly funding Islamic extremists linked to terror attacks in Spain, Morocco, and Algeria, according to a joint investigation by both Spanish and French secret services. The findings will be seized on both by campaigners for a harsher clampdown on cannabis and by those who argue that legalization is the only way to end petty dealing that is dragging growing numbers of teenagers into crime. The investigation by the Centro Nacional de Inteligencia and the Renseignement Généraux was launched after Spanish police found that the Islamists behind the March 2004 bombings in Madrid bought their explosives from former miners in return for hashish. The bombings claimed 191 lives. Spain's role as a transit point for drugs was highlighted last week when Madrid hosted the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency's annual conference. Experts heard not only that North African hashish was funding terrorism in Europe, but also that West Africa had become a new hub for South American cocaine bound for Europe. Morocco is the world's leading cannabis exporter, with an annual crop estimated to be worth at least $2 billion. Last month, the Moroccan Navy seized 3 tons of European-bound hashish off the Mediterranean port of Nador. The same week, Spanish Coast Guard seized 4.3 tons of Moroccan resin off Ibiza. The Joint Service investigation finds that hashish is part of a complex financing network serving the Algeria-based Salafist group for preaching and combat, affiliated since last year to Al-Qaeda. The group claimed responsibility for 2 bombings in Algiers on April 11th that killed 30 people and left 200 injured. French terrorism expert Dominique Thomas said the link between drug dealing and Islamic terrorism was not new. The issue stands at the core of divisions within Al-Qaeda between those who believe that the end justifies the means and others who argue that drugs are incompatible with Islam. This is just another great example of how we are funding the enemies of peace through our short-sighted policies of prohibition.
Got stickers? Oakland County Norml does not endorse the random stickering of other people's property, both public and private. All rights reserved.
Exciting Michigan news. There is an upcoming medical marijuana petition drive starting very soon statewide. It's being presented by the Michigan Coalition for Compassionate Care, and registered Michigan voters can make extra money gathering signatures at county fairs, state fairs, or even going door to door. Make up to $15 an hour. Please call Crystal Martinez or go to the website for more details. I will sign this petition. I encourage all Michigan voters to sign this petition, even if you're against medical marijuana. If you sign the petition, you can vote against medical marijuana. I would prefer you voted for medical marijuana and helped out the sick and dying citizens in Michigan. This is Mikey Evans, Oakland Norml News. Let's get collecting.
You are watching ONN.